For years, audiences had admired the remarkable on-screen partnership of Barış Arduc and Elçin Sangu. Their performances had created unforgettable moments that stayed in the hearts of viewers long after the final scenes ended. Across different countries, fans continued to celebrate their work, sharing favorite memories, photos, and discussions about the characters they had brought to life. As time passed, however, whispers began appearing online. Nobody knew where the rumors started. A simple comment on a fan page turned into a discussion. A discussion turned into speculation. Speculation became headlines on entertainment blogs. Soon, countless people were asking the same question. Had something changed? The truth was that neither Baris nor Elcin had publicly spoken about any problem. Yet the internet often moved faster than facts. Every photo, every interview, and every social media post became a subject of analysis. If one of them attended an event alone, people talked. If they did not appear together at an industry gathering, people talked. If months passed without a new project featuring both stars, people talked even more. Many fans tried to ignore the rumors. They believed that respect and patience were more important than assumptions. But others found themselves wondering what was happening behind the scenes. One autumn evening, a young fan named Layla sat in her room scrolling through social media. Her screen was filled with posts discussing the rumored separation. Some people claimed they had insider information. Others insisted everything was fine. Most of the posts contradicted one another. Layla sighed and put her phone down. She remembered watching interviews from years earlier, where both actors had spoken warmly about teamwork, dedication, and gratitude toward fans. Those memories felt genuine. They felt real. That was why the rumors hurt. Not because anyone knew the truth, but because uncertainty often creates sadness of its own. The happiest memories were never about gossip. They were about inspiration. Fans had connected with stories that gave them hope, laughter, and unforgettable emotions. Yet now, many conversations were focused on questions nobody could answer. Murat wondered why people were so quick to believe the worst. The next morning, entertainment journalists gathered at a media event. Naturally, rumors became one of the most discussed topics. Some reporters hoped for dramatic statements. Others searched for clues hidden in ordinary answers. But the event remained professional and calm. Nothing unusual happened. Still, articles appeared later that day suggesting hidden meanings behind simple conversations. The cycle continued. Every ordinary moment became extraordinary in the eyes of speculation. Meanwhile, Baris focused on his work. Long hours on set filled his schedule. Scripts, rehearsals, and meetings occupied most of his days. Like many performers, he understood that public attention came with challenges. People often created stories when information was limited. He had learned not to react to every rumor. Elcin faced similar circumstances. Her days were equally busy. Projects demanded focus and energy. Whenever she met fans, she appreciated their support and kindness. Yet, she also noticed how quickly assumptions could spread online. A single misunderstanding could travel across thousands of accounts within hours. Neither of them expected rumors to disappear completely. Weeks passed. The discussions only grew larger. Fan communities became divided. One group believed the rumors. Another group rejected them entirely. A third group simply wished everyone would stop guessing. Layla belonged to that third group. One evening, she joined an online discussion where fans from different countries shared their thoughts. At first, the conversation was respectful. People talked about favorite scenes and memorable performances. But eventually, someone mentioned the rumored separation. The atmosphere changed immediately. Arguments began. Assumptions replaced facts. People defended opinions that were based on little more than guesses. Layla quietly left the discussion. She felt disappointed. The artists who had inspired so much positivity were now at the center of endless debates. That night, she opened an old notebook. Inside were notes she had written years earlier after watching a television series that had meant a lot to her. One sentence stood out. "Good stories bring people together." Layla stared at those words for a long time. The following week brought another surprise. A charity event announced a long list of guests from the entertainment industry. Among the names were Baris Arduc and Elcin Sangu. Almost instantly, excitement spread across social media. Some people believed the event would finally answer every question. Others warned against unrealistic expectations. The days leading up to the event felt endless. Fans waited eagerly. Journalists prepared articles in advance. Online discussions reached their highest level yet. For many observers, the charity event seemed like a turning point. Would the rumors finally end? Or would new questions emerge? Nobody knew. As the evening approached, cameras gathered outside the venue. Bright lights illuminated the entrance. Guests began arriving one after another. The atmosphere buzzed with anticipation. Inside the crowd, Layla and Murat stood among hundreds of attendees. Both felt nervous. Not because they expected dramatic revelations, but because they hoped something simple would happen. They hoped people would remember kindness. They hoped respect would replace speculation. Most of all, they hoped that the story everyone had been discussing for months was not really about separation at all. Perhaps it was about something deeper. Something the internet often forgot. The difference between rumors and reality. As the doors opened and the event officially began, the audience watched closely. The night that many believed would provide answers was finally here. And for the first time in months, it seemed that an unexpected truth might be waiting just around the corner. The grand hall shimmered under warm lights as guests from across the entertainment world gathered for the charity event. Conversations filled the room, cameras flashed near the entrance, and excitement could be felt in every corner. For months, fans had waited for a moment like this. Not because they expected a dramatic announcement. Not because they wanted controversy. They simply hoped for clarity. Outside the venue, social media platforms were already flooded with updates. Thousands of people followed every photograph and every report being shared in real time. Inside the hall, Layla stood quietly near one of the large windows overlooking the city. She watched guests greet one another. Actors exchanged smiles. Directors discussed upcoming projects. Writers shared ideas. Everything appeared completely normal. Yet everyone knew there was one topic many people were secretly thinking about. The rumors. Nearby, Murat adjusted the camera hanging around his neck. He had attended many events over the years, but tonight felt different. There was an unusual tension in the air. People seemed to be searching for answers before any questions had even been asked. A few journalists gathered near the center of the room. Their conversations revealed what everyone already suspected. Many of tomorrow's headlines had already been planned. Some articles would focus on fashion. Some would focus on charity. Others would focus on speculation. Murat found that unfortunate. The purpose of the evening was to support important community projects, yet rumors continued to dominate attention. As guests settled into their seats, the event officially began. A presenter stepped onto the stage and welcomed everyone. The audience responded with warm applause. Several speakers talked about the positive impact of charitable initiatives. Stories of education, opportunity, and community support filled the room. For a while, the rumors seemed far away. People focused on something more meaningful. Something real. Layla smiled. This was the kind of event she loved. One that brought people together. One that reminded everyone of what truly mattered. Then, during a short intermission, excitement suddenly spread through the crowd. People noticed two familiar faces entering the same section of the hall. Baris Arduc and Elcin Sangu. The reaction was immediate. Not because anything dramatic happened. In fact, the moment was remarkably ordinary. They greeted colleagues. They exchanged polite smiles. They spoke with other guests. Nothing seemed unusual. Yet countless observers began analyzing every detail. A simple conversation became a headline. A friendly greeting became a theory. A photograph became evidence. The internet once again transformed ordinary moments into mysteries. Layla shook her head. She couldn't understand why people were determined to create stories that might not exist. As the evening continued, several media representatives approached attendees to gather comments. One journalist asked a well-known producer what he thought about the ongoing rumors. The producer smiled gently. "People often forget that public figures are human beings," he said. "They deserve the same respect and privacy as everyone else." His answer quickly spread online. Many fans appreciated his words. Others continued searching for hidden meanings. The cycle seemed impossible to stop. Later that evening, a special presentation honored individuals who had contributed to charitable causes throughout the year. The atmosphere became emotional. Stories of generosity and dedication filled the large screen behind the stage. Audience members listened attentively. Some even wiped away tears. For a brief moment, speculation disappeared. Everyone was united by the same purpose. When the presentation ended, the room erupted in applause. Layla noticed something important. People looked happiest when they focused on positive things. Not rumors. Not assumptions. Not gossip. Just genuine appreciation. Meanwhile, outside the venue, online discussions continued growing. Millions of views accumulated across various posts. Some creators produced videos analyzing photographs from the event. Others claimed to have discovered clues hidden in brief interactions. Many of these conclusions contradicted one another. Yet they spread rapidly anyway. Murat found himself thinking about how strange modern communication had become. A single image could tell hundreds of different stories depending on who was looking at it. The truth often became lost beneath layers of interpretation. As the night progressed, journalists finally had an opportunity to speak with several guests individually. Questions about professional projects dominated most interviews. Future plans. Creative goals. Upcoming work. The conversations remained respectful and positive. Yet some reporters continued trying to steer discussions back toward the rumors. Most received careful, professional responses. Nothing sensational emerged. Nothing shocking happened. Still, speculation persisted. By midnight, the charity event was coming to an end. Guests began leaving. The city lights sparkled beyond the venue's windows. Cars arrived one after another to collect attendees. Layla and Murat walked outside together. For a moment, neither spoke. Finally, Murat broke the silence. "Do you feel like we learned anything tonight?" Layla considered the question carefully. Then she nodded. "Yes. What did we learn?" She looked back toward the building. "We learned that people see what they want to see." Murat thought about her answer. It made sense. The event had provided countless opportunities for observers to draw conclusions. Yet none of those conclusions were guaranteed to be correct. Facts remained limited. Assumptions remained abundant. The next morning, entertainment websites published their coverage. As expected, some articles focused on the charitable achievements celebrated during the event. Others focused almost entirely on the rumored separation. Readers found themselves choosing between two very different narratives. One highlighted positive accomplishments. The other highlighted uncertainty. Layla spent the day reading various reports. The contrast surprised her. Some articles described the evening as a successful charity gathering. Others presented it as a mystery waiting to be solved. How could the same event produce such different stories? The answer was simple. Perspective. Everyone viewed events through their own lens. That realization stayed with her. A few days later, another unexpected development occurred. An industry insider published an opinion piece discussing the dangers of rumor culture. The article argued that speculation often creates emotional pressure for both public figures and fans. It encouraged readers to focus on verified information rather than assumptions. The message resonated with many people. For the first time in months, conversations began changing. Fans started sharing memories of performances they loved. They discussed favorite scenes, favorite characters, favorite moments. The focus slowly shifted away from rumors and back toward appreciation. Murat noticed the difference immediately. Online communities felt calmer, more positive. more respectful. It wasn't a complete transformation. Speculation still existed, but it no longer dominated every discussion. One evening, Layla opened her notebook again. The same sentence caught her attention. Good stories bring people together. This time, the words felt even more meaningful. Perhaps the real story was never about a rumored separation. Perhaps it was about how quickly uncertainty can affect people, how easily assumptions can spread, and how important it is to choose understanding over speculation. As she closed the notebook, a notification appeared on her phone. A major announcement from the entertainment industry had just been released. The message was brief, but it immediately captured everyone's attention. A new project was being discussed. A project connected to familiar names. A project that nobody had expected. Within minutes, fans across the world were talking about it. Excitement replaced uncertainty. Hope replaced doubt. And once again, the story took an unexpected turn. What exactly was this mysterious new project? And why were so many people suddenly convinced that it could change everything? Those answers would soon begin to emerge.